It's 6 spiritual realities of board games. On this episode of Play Saves the World, the ongoing conversation on spirituality and board games. Well, hello, and welcome, everybody, to this episode of Play Saves the World. My name is Daniel Hilty.
My name is Kevin Taylor.
And we are so excited and grateful to have you here today for a conversation about 6 spiritualities of board game, or 6 spiritual realities of board games, as opposed to what I just said. Kevin, it's really good to see you, and I hope all is well in your world. Kevin, if people like this conversation and really kind of get into board games, play, spirituality, religion, what can they do to support this kind of conversation?
Oh, man, there's so many
continuing?
things you can do. You can tell a friend. You can tell them about this great podcast. You can give us a like and subscribe on YouTube or your podcast player of choice. That helps. And you can also support us financially, address some of the costs of running and hosting this podcast. You can do that at patreon.com/playsavestheworld. And you can always email us through info@playsavestheworld.org.
Yep. Thank you so much. We love hearing from you all, and we appreciate all signs of support. And thank you very much. So, Kevin,
Daniel,
play, board games, and spirituality. What's the deal? Is there such a thing? What are we talking about today?
we have been working on this, Daniel, for we should know 3 years, 2.5.
It's been over 3 years now, about 3.5 years. I think.
3.5 years.
Yeah.
So it's time to do kind of a state of the union.
State of the
union of spirituality and board games. Resurveying the land. And if you go back and listen to some of our deep catalog cuts, you can hear us discussing books and trying to make sense of defining what games are and also how that intersects with spirituality, because we keep seeing these overlaps and these intersections. So yes, today we're going to go back to just briefly defining what play is and then dig into these marks of play that connect with life-giving spirituality.
Yeah, I love this. Yeah. I'm so glad you suggested this topic, Kevin, because as you said, I mean, this has been a really such a wonderful journey. I know for us, and hopefully for our listeners and viewers too, if you're watching on YouTube, over these last 3.5 years. And you're right. I mean, what the picture of religion, spirituality, play, board games, what kind of picture of that we're looking at today, the picture that's emerged over the last 3.5 years, isn't necessarily the same kind of picture that we were talking about when we started this podcast a while ago. Because as you said, we've had wonderful guests on who are very insightful and wise and have shared some of their insights, and we've talked about books and that also share a lot of insights. And so it's just been an ongoing kind of evolving conversation. And so I think that the idea of revisiting the conversation now is a really good one. Thank you.
Yeah, let's try to rehash what we have learned.
Yeah.
Do like the crazy board.
Let's do it.
The strings.
Like on the detective shows,
yes,
right?
Yes,
like
all
who
the detective
murdered
shows. Right.
Who murdered the spirit of play? We're going to find out and bring them to justice.
That's right. I am vengeance.
So what is play? I guess that's the first question, because
which is harder than you actually probably realize, right?
Right.
You kind of know what it is, but can you define it?
It's kind of famously difficult to define, right? I mean, because one person's play might be another person's work, right? And vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And some people turn their play into work, and that, is it still play?
Right.
If you turn it into your interests, your love of playing violin, and you become a professional violinist, are you still just doing it for fun, or are you now a professional? And that's, So
right.
give me one of the identifying markers of a situation of play versus work.
Yeah. So probably maybe the most obvious marker of play, and by play we also mean board games, kind of two sides.
But
of
also
the coin
throwing
here.
a stick with your dog.
That's right.
Throwing a
That's
stick
right.
with your cat, which is an even more interesting game. Cause
Jamming on your guitar. Yeah,
Jamming on your
throwing a stick
guitar.
with your cat is a good idea
Yes.
too.
and
Your
they
dog
just look at
throwing
they
a
look at the stick and then they look at you.
They say, "Indeed, sir, indeed."
Meaning they're either incredibly wise and they understand the whole thing, or they are so dumb they don't really even know what's just happened. And that's the cryptic nature of cats. Like, are they dumb or are they smart?
There's a fine line between where does one end and the other one begin? It's hard to know.
Exactly. That's the mystery of the cat.
It is.
Is it is it a god, or is it, just a very not smart mammal? We don't know.
I'm going through Tao Te Ching, the kind of the foundational book of Taoism, and one of the themes that it returns to again and again is the action of inaction and the wisdom of non-wisdom. And so maybe that's what the cat possesses, right? We think the cat is like, "Why aren't you going after the stick?" And the cat is like, "Oh man, you have no idea. I am taking all sorts of action by not running after that stick right now."
Yes.
Yeah.
I've chosen.
I'm teaching you about the way of life. Yeah.
That's
All right. So, probably the most obvious mark of play and games is that it's voluntary, right? It's voluntary, and that should be pretty. That's apparent to all of us, of course, right? If someone's forcing you to do something, it's not play.
Right.
And that kind of gets a little bit to what we were just talking about, what makes work play and play work. If it's something you're feeling obligated to do, it's no longer play. I play board games sometimes with people, and I can tell that they're just doing it because they want to be nice to me. And by golly, that's so nice of them. And they do it out of love for me, and that's so nice of them. But it's not really play for them, right? They're doing it because they said they want to be a loving, kind person, and that's very nice. And we don't take advantage of that. Anyway, so that's the first mark of play.
And we work for a paycheck. I mean, at the end of the day, we work because we have to. We need the paycheck so we can pay the bills.
That's right.
But playing games doesn't yield any benefit. So it is something you do freely, not out of compulsion so that you'll keep the lights on or something. Yeah.
Right, which is kind of the second mark of play.
Which is it's unnecessary. Yes, exactly. Play is not only just voluntary, number one, but number two, it's unnecessary. It doesn't serve any larger purpose than itself. So it is self-purposive. So I'm going to play this game. These things only make sense within the game. And when we're done and we box it up, the game doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Right.
The example that I love from this that we've talked about before is from the Canadian philosopher Bernard Suits. It says, the point of golf is to get a ball in the hole, but that in itself is boring. And so you make these unnecessary rules that you have to hit the ball with a stick. That's totally unnecessary. You're just trying to get the ball in the hole. You could just walk over and drop it in the hole, but you make this unnecessary rule about sticks and clubs.
Right.
Putters.
That's right. Yeah. So we make it even more unnecessary because we create obstacles. So let's race over there, but what we're going to do is tie two of our legs together and make it a three-legged race. And now all of a sudden it's more interesting than just running.
Yeah.
Right? Because then people are falling over and things, and that's hilarious.
Do you remember at the Geekway Board Convention when we tied two of our legs together and tried to play games together? Yeah. It was totally unnecessary, fun. But it was so fun.
I still have a rash from that, actually.
What apologize. Once again, sir, I want to apologize.
I didn't know eczema could be contagious.
I thought I had contained my contagion. Anyway,
Exactly. Still worth it.
Well, good. And
so
then
voluntary, unnecessary. What else we got?
Play is rewarding. It's inherently rewarding. Jane McGonigal, who's a play theorist, talks about this, and she says, one of the joys of play is when you do it, you feel clever, right? You feel like, oh, I'm a smart person. I can look what I just did. Oh, I figured this out. Oh, I did this creative thing. Oh, look at that.
I own a railroad and I own a hotel, and that feels really good. And you're executing the plan. I want to go buy this property in Monopoly, and then I go do it. Oh, look at me.
That's right. So it's inherently rewarding. Jane McGonigal talks about, it gives you these little dopamine hits, kind of through the day. That just, your brain releases these chemicals that make you feel better when you feel like you're clever and you're doing things. Yeah.
And so, especially if you win, and you may not feel clever. That's the weird, if you lose, hopefully you're still, getting other benefits. But
maybe so, along the way you had some little moments of feeling clever, even if you didn't win at the end.
Right.
Maybe not. I don't know. But yeah. So good. They're voluntary. Play is voluntary. It's unnecessary. It's rewarding. What's another thing?
It is freeing in the sense that we're enjoying being ourselves, being creative, being engaged with others, and we're not having to do something because someone told us to. Mm-hmm. So it can be an act of resistance, even. Play can be a distraction, as Jane McGonigal says. A distraction from famine is the old story from the ancient Greeks.
Yes. About the invention of board games, right? It was to distract from famine.
Games.
Yeah.
So games play a role of reviving the soul and restoring us in a way that work and other things, while work can be satisfying and rewarding, but dopamine hits and all that, but engaging in play, especially when you socialize, makes us just feel better. It frees us, right? It's a Sabbath rest, if we want to put it in that context.
That's good. It's a moment when you don't have to play by the rules of the world. You can resist the rules of the world and play by your own set of rules for a little while, or something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's good. I like it.
Yep. And that really wraps them up. We had one that really we folded into with the unnecessary, which is non-instrumental, right?
Yeah. That it's not an end unto itself. Right. It's no. I'm sorry.
No,
it's not. It is an end unto itself. Play is an end unto itself. It's not in service to another end. Right. You're not. Which again gets into the topic of, like, if you're paid to do something that other people consider play, is it still play for you? Mm-hmm. Right. Because at that point, then you're doing it to reach another end, which is to get paid.
Right. Yeah. Or if you're a board game designer and you're playing games to learn about new mechanics.
Yeah.
It's a bit of you're in a grayer area, I would think. Yeah.
So that's kind of an overview of play and what play is, at least trying to get at it. Again, it's kind of difficult to define, but those are some of the common themes that will a person will often encounter in trying to talk about play and reading about play and what is play. So, Kevin, my friend.
Daniel.
Kevin.
Daniel.
The man.
Yes.
What?
That's my child.
Yes. Father.
Please, sir, may I have a board game?
Please, sir. So what are some spiritual life-giving, some spiritual realities, some life-giving realities of spirituality that play understood like that contributes to? If we understand play as voluntary, unnecessary, rewarding, freeing, non-instrumental, somewhere in there, what do those qualities, how do those qualities encourage a life-giving spirituality?
Okay. We've got six.
That
we came up, and you all may think of something else. Let us know. But the number one, a really big one, is a sense of belonging and community. This is why there are board game conventions. This is why people play games. They enjoy connecting with people. They need those other people to make it more interesting and fun, and that sense of something that's a special moment where you're engaged with others and you're not. It's hard to talk with people. There's a lot of social anxiety out there, and that's why people might smoke or drink or go to a bar, or it has to be friends from work, and you can talk about work. Where board games is a way to talk and interact with people that is a lot less anxiety producing.
Yeah.
Because you can have a little conversation, but the whole time you're playing this game. So you walk into a board game convention and you start meeting people and you interact with folks, and all these people are there because they want to be part of this community. Yes, that sense of belonging, that sense of community. And that's the thing that when we discuss with people, what's your main reason, what thing you love about games, they like the community aspect of it.
Yeah. And I think that really flows out of that sense of the fact that it's voluntary, right? I mean, you're there because you want to be there. And also you're there because other people want you to be there, right? It's not, there's no sense of compulsion to that at all.
But it's an activity. What are you going to do with
right.
someone else? Well, you can eat, you can, but a game is an activity that's creates special memories and moments and interesting bits, and then you can still have those conversations on the side.
Right.
Takes the pressure off.
I remember I was talking with someone, and I apologize, I don't remember who it was now. I don't think it was anyone on this podcast who is trying to look for examples of play and playfulness in the Bible and the kind of belonging that that playfulness leads to. And this person said, that while there are not necessarily a lot of games in the Bible, except the Ummim and the Thummim, but that this person really saw a spirit of playfulness in the stories of the meals that people share together in the Bible, especially in particular. I think this person said, Jesus and his disciples, right? That there's a certain kind of playfulness in that to recount again and again that Jesus ate with this person and Jesus ate with that person. Sharing meals together can often be playful, right? In a way, and it creates a sense of belonging, right? It's one of the main reasons we eat with people is. It helps us feel connected to them.
Yeah. That's another way that's powerful. Yes. So this sense of community and connection, it can be especially intergenerational. It's a way to connect with people from different generations because you can play a game and not have those awkward moments of what do you talk about and how do you connect with them. You connect over a game.
Yeah.
It works across generations. It's very effective in church ministry. It would work at any house of worship, any situation, setting, icebreakers in clubs and groups. You can see it just happening all sorts of places.
Yeah. I know listeners to the podcast, viewers of it, have before this episode have probably heard me say it before, but yeah, just in my experience, there's no ministry that brings together a greater diversity of ages than board games, right? Because folks who are retired love it, kids love it, and everybody in between loves it.
And you've done it how many times?
I've been at 3 different churches since I have renewed my love of board games, and it's they're just I never tire of it. Its ability to bring together folks,
right,
across various spectrums.
And the one requirement is your desire, again, to voluntary. It's your desire to play the game. Yep. Right. That's the only requirement. Anything else doesn't matter.
Yep. Just raising your hand, saying I'm in. I'd like to be in, and the response is always, "We would love to have you in." Right.
Yes.
You belong here. Yeah. Some would say, play saves the world. Anyway, but yes. So what's the second?
Like delightful people. Number two.
Number two is that play encourages a spiritual reality that's in tune with a sense of grace, or we might say self-worth, or we might say belovedness. Grace is a kind of it doesn't have to be a technical theological term, but for those of us who enjoy technical theological terms, grace is often defined as, kind of the unmerited love of God, the unearned love of God. We like to say just kind of, God loves you and there's nothing you can do about it, right? But if you're not necessarily a religious person, you can frame it differently. You could say, the universe loves you and there's nothing you can do about it. Or the universe is ultimately good and there's nothing you can do about it. And there's a lot of different ways of framing that, or that you are beloved and there's nothing you can do about it, right? Whether we define
you're accepted, you belong here. Yes.
And I think, and I think part of one reason play helps to encourage that sense of grace, belovedness, unconditional belovedness, is that it it does deal so much in the world of things that are unnecessary, right? Play is unnecessary. It deals with unnecessary activities and obstacles. Again, swinging the club and the putter in golf and all of that. The more we exercise ourselves in the realm of unnecessary activities that create positive experiences, I think the more we're open to this idea that there are positive experiences that can come our way that we don't have to earn or do anything really to receive or do. Just show up and boom, life is a little bit better in that moment, right? And I don't mean to say any of this with rose-colored glasses or rosy-colored glasses, because of course life can be really awful sometimes too, and bad. But there are also moments where life can be wonderful and good and beautiful, and we don't always earn those either. Those good moments, they just kind of show up.
Yeah. And board games are like that. You just show up, and I've showed up for a board game and just had the best time playing certain games. And then interestingly, you can have the same game with a different group and it doesn't click, right? Yeah, but you have to show up, and you don't know when it's going to have those magical bits. That's like when we were playing Raw or That's Not a Hat, and then you play with a different group and they just don't get it. And that's what makes it fun. You don't know what's going to happen, right? Right.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, and then so Kevin, and then there's some other dimensions of that grace, self-worth, belovedness too, that you and I were talking about kind of offline before recording of the show too, right? That grace also, well, you were putting it better than I did, but grace can also lead to a sense of like, you're saying kind of like equality, sort of, is that right? Or
well, yeah. I mean, if I am a valid participant at this table and you're seated across from me, you are also a valid participant, right? And we both have a chance of winning. So it means there's a radical equality there. I may win, I may lose. We'll see what happens. It really doesn't matter when the game ends. But we're all equal. We're equal contestants. We have an equal share in this moment. And so I have to recognize that equality that is present in you and in me. So.
I love that. I remember Jason Santos at our last episode talked a little bit about that too, seeing his mom and his son play together and different life experiences, but they were equal.
They're equal, yes. I cribbed that from him in a lot of ways, yes. So thanks to Jason. This idea of equality is, yes, I am blue and you are yellow, right? And that's the only distinguishing bit, and may the best player win.
Yeah. I thought about, I've seen that in the board game groups too at church. Like I think about, like this, there might be two people playing a game together who are very different in so many ways. Like I'm thinking of some specific examples. Like a senior citizen who votes Republican has, in this particular case, has a lot of money saved up in the retirement account. Just really plays a board game with a college student who has no money in the bank account and identifies as queer and votes Democrat, and just so many different experiences in life. But by golly, around the table, they both have an equal chance of winning this game, right? They're the same. It's a beautiful thing.
And they can interact in a way that they might otherwise never interact.
It's great.
It's an awesome moment. It's an awesome moment. And that grace and self-worth and belovedness reminds us of the image of God, that we're all creating that same image of God, and we can play. And our one of the mentors in this field, the Theology of Play by Moltmann, talks about God creating the world as an unnecessary act of creation, which was an act of play. And so anytime we play, we're kind of living out that image of God of doing things that are unnecessary.
Oh, yeah.
And so that gets us closer to God, how God interacts with the world. God doesn't have to do any of this, but God chooses to. So it connects us with that.
What is the image of God? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, you go ahead. No.
Well, just hearing you talk to me, think, what if, that's always a concept that theologians debate. What does it mean to say we're in the image of God?
Right.
And there's no one definitive answer to it. But, what if one answer is that, what if the image of God is just doing unnecessary good, or just acting unnecessarily to generate goodness or beauty in the world, or, Anyway, yeah,
sure.
That's kind of what play does.
Engaging in hobbies and
you were saying something.
And it connects us too in the sense of if we are all sort of accepted and have inherent self-worth as human beings, then that idea of Sabbath rest, that idea that we are more than work. And so playing a game reminds us that we're not made to work, that from the beginning, 6 days of work and 1 day of rest. Even God, who actually doesn't need to rest, does that simply as a pattern, right? This sort of really paradoxical action.
Yeah.
It's quite lovely.
Yeah. That's awesome. So those are our first two spiritual realities of play. They play nurtures a sense of belonging and community. Play nurtures a sense of grace and self-worth and belovedness. What's another one, Kevin?
Another one is agency. You get to, no matter who you are, how old you are, you get to do something to impact the board game state. And you can feel immensely clever or powerful because you did something. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That you can control.
Yeah.
You may not have other control in your life, but you can control these checker pieces, or you can control this character.
Yeah. That is so helpful for, I think, a life-giving spirituality, right? The sense that there are choices we can make. There are always choices we can make, right? That there, and I know sometimes a lot of spiritual tradition, and rightly so, I agree with this, emphasizes that, there's a lot we're not in control of in the world. And by golly, that's true. There's so much we're not.
Controlling what you can't control is just going to set you up for misery and suffering.
That's right. But, a lot of spiritual traditions make the point then that even in the face of what we can't control, we can make the choice. We can make choices, right? We can make choices to acknowledge that, right? We can make choices to maybe in some ways embrace that, or we can make choices to be in control of what we can be in control of, but it's the invitation to seek out those choices that we can make, right? And which is nurturing of a life-giving spirituality in all sorts of situations.
Yes. For some reason, you're making me think of Jesus and the rich young ruler, that story where the rich young, I don't know if he's a ruler or whatever. It's like, I've done all the law. What do I need to do? And Jesus kind of says, well, you could give your money away and come follow me. It's like, whoa. Like,
hold on there.
Hold on there. It's like, well, I've made all the right choices, haven't I? I'm like, there's the choice you could make, but you don't see. Yeah.
There are always
looking
choices.
at agency.
Yeah.
Embracing that. And the fact that the more and more we work our mental agency by choosing and reading the board game and the rules, we're actually also helping our brains. So they more and more, talk about dementia and Alzheimer's and concerns around brain health. And not that this is gonna, no guarantees right now in terms of these terrible diseases, but there's thinking that any type of working on puzzles and interacting and keeping your brain healthy, it's a muscle in some ways, like you're helping yourself. So
yeah. You mentioned beforehand, that's one of the things we talked about with Kristen when she was on the episode, just in terms of working with older adults. And again, like you said, there's no guarantees for anything, but it does, it's one way to kind of exercise some mental muscles. Yeah,
that's right. staying lively with your mind with games is awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah. Which relates to another fourth spiritual reality of play, and that is just the educational aspect of it as well, right? That play can help to form us, right, and to shape us in matters of all sorts of matters, but they can, in terms of history or issues of power or politics. I know we have discussed before, like Amabel Holland, who's really good at producing games like this, or at least some of her games are like this. Help to shape form. We were Kristen and I just spent the past weekend at a board game conference, Geekway Mini, out in St. Louis. By the way, Kevin, while we were in St. Louis, and as the BBC reports this morning, it's still true as of this morning. There are 4 monkeys loose in St. Louis right now, and we don't know where they came from. Yeah, they did not come from the zoo, the much beloved St. Louis Zoo. It's a really good zoo. Putting a plug in there for the St. Louis Zoo if anybody's ever in the area of St. Louis. It's free too, but they didn't come from the zoo. There are 4 monkeys just running around, and
that's so weird.
And they're 4 monkeys running around St. Louis, and everybody's always trying to put them down, but they don't know why. They just want to make music. That's what
they make music.
No, that was a reference to the old monkey song where like everyone's trying to put us down, and we just want to make music. But there are actually
picture these monkeys banging pots and pans.
That's right. It was a horrible joke, but it is true that as of the recording of this episode, there are 4 monkeys loose in St. Louis right now.
Right.
Anyway,
but you didn't see any. You had no sightings.
Not that we know of. We suspect they might have been in disguise. Because they're very short monkeys, and if they stand on each other's shoulders and put on an overcoat,
right,
with like the Groucho Marx. There was one guy we thought is he maybe he's 4 monkeys under a trench coat, but we weren't sure.
You had an Uber driver that seemed to smell a little and had a very rectangular smile. Like
that's right.
It had symbols on his hands.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, that was a bit of a
agency
or education.
No, education. That's right. We moved on. Number 4. I'm sorry, I got on that tangent. Was we were at Geekway Mini in the very first game. On a tangent.
I know. Friends of the podcast, Jordan, Chelsea, Joe, played with Chris and me when we got there. Was Herstory? Have you played Herstory?
No.
It's a really good game, and it's educational. It is, you're building a tableau essentially. The theme is you're writing a book, but really what you're is building a tableau with, I don't know how many cards are in it, probably a couple hundred cards if not more, and every card highlights a woman from history who made some sort of wonderful contribution to history. It's called Herstory, but that was an example of what we're talking about here. That it was educational, informative, and I walked away from that game with a greater sense of these individuals who have contributed to our collective story as humans. The individuals that are highlighted on the cards in the game. That if many of them I wasn't aware of as much beforehand. So
yeah, I mean, not every game has an educational component, but some games, either through its the theming of it, like what it's about, might teach you something. Like you're saying that Herstory has its theme is you're going to learn things and there's stuff on the cards. Or some games through the mechanics and also the theme might teach you things about something in the past. So yeah, if you play Pax Pamir, it's talking about how these empires struggled in Afghanistan in the 1800s and how the tribes interacted with them, which is really cool. Gets you thinking about power. That's a Cole Wehrle, signature type exploration. How power can, how empires and powers interact, and how there's resistance. So yeah, games can teach you. Actually, Monopoly started out as an educational game about the problems of real estate and unchecked real estate and capitalism. And there's a sequel to show you the better way that no one plays. But that was the origins of Monopoly. Was to make you feel bad for putting your mom bankrupt. Yes.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, we've talked about that before. That if you don't like Monopoly, there's a reason for it. It was designed to be a game originally that you're not supposed to like. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then another story after that. Designed by a woman, the original game. Yeah. Yep. But then things went elsewhere from there. So that's the fourth one. For spirituality, it's educational. What's another one, Kevin? Another spirituality.
Another one is freedom, which is probably connected to agency in a lot of ways. But freedom, the sense of your choices matter, and especially games that encourage a certain exploration or experimentation. Like, what if we do this? Right. So the game itself may encourage a freedom, and we're doing activities that are restorative. So because playing is not required as optional, then there's a free sense of, I feel so much better now that I got outside of my head and outside of my worries and took a little time to do something that really was pointless. I moved little bits of cardboard around, but wasn't it fun?
Yeah. I really resonate with that too. Yeah. I think, there's always you're not saying this, I'm just having an interior dialogue. There's always a little risk of talking about like escapism or something like that in the midst of that. But there's this sense of, and that's not what I mean, but there's this sense of, at least for me, it might be an awful day in the news, and just hearing about the world playing by a set of rules that just I find very discouraging or upsetting or whatever. But I for this hour, I can enter into this tiny little world around this table that plays by different rules. I can be a little bit, I can be free of that. And again, I don't want to. Maybe that's just another name for escapism. I don't know. And maybe escapism isn't always bad in little micro doses. I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah. We need a little retreat into a fantasy world. That's why we read books and watch TV and Lord of the Rings and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, retreat's a good word for it. I like that.
But freedom. And some gaming platforms like say tabletop role playing games, D&D and stuff are really good at this, where it's an open world. And the hallmark of a good dungeon master is the players, as long as it's feasible, they can do anything they want. And your response is, of course, you can do that.
Yeah.
Now there may be a risk, but if you want to climb up the wall and try to eat the chimney, then yes, you can do that.
Have you ever tried to climb up a wall and eat a chimney in D&D?
I have, and in real life. I can go at the third way.
I'm sorry.
It was delicious.
Good. It was worth it. Would you do it again? Would you recommend?
No. There's some old Monty Python TV show skit where this guy is always going to do dumb stunts because obviously his agent is putting him up to it. And one is he's going to jump over the English Channel. And they have a little group in France that are going to welcome him. And then there's a group that sent him off, and there's a band, and then he runs and splashes into the ocean, and that's it. And then his follow-up, he's going to eat a church. He's got a little fork and knife. Then he screams.
And that's where the scene ends.
Pretty much. Well, it pans away, and you hear him scream. Like, the agony of fighting into the stone church. It's just so stupid.
As long as we're going down the tangent of British comedy. That reminds me of one of our favorite skits in our family. There was an old show that, not as old as Monty Python, called That Mitchell and Webb Look. I think it's kind of had a revamp now. We haven't seen the revamp.
Okay.
But one of their skits, you can find this on YouTube, was there was a superhero team called Angel Summoner and the BMX Bandit. And have I told you about this? It's so great. And their superpowers are, the Angel Summoner can summon a horde of angels to accomplish whatever the Angel Summoner wants. And the BMX Bandit is really good at riding his BMX.
Which is like a mountain bicycle. Is that what?
That's right. Yeah, like a mountain bike. Yeah, like a mountain bike. Yeah, and so it's the series of skits where they face like trying to take down this drug lord or this hostage situation, and the BMX man is like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ride in on my BMX bike and I'm going to kick a wheelie and I'm going to get the Angel Summoner's like, all of that's really good, or I could just summon a horde of angels.
Just have the angels.
At the very end, the very last one is he's really mad by this point, the BMX Bandit, because the Angel Summoner always pulls it. And so he says, "Come on, this time I really want to do this." He said, "I want to ride my bike off this ramp and jump from this building to the next building to save the person who's being kidnapped." And the Angel Summoner says, "Sure, go ahead." And he does it, and he's jumping through the air from one building to the other, and he's like, I'm doing it, I'm really doing it. It's like, oh no, you summoned your angels again. And he says, "Come on, pull off your angels," and then he goes plummeting to the ground. Anyway, sorry, that was quite a tangent, but dear listeners and viewers, if you want to see that, you can find it on YouTube. I don't remember. I always feel like I need to say, I don't remember whether there's any strong language in it or not. There might be some strong language, so if you're watching with your kids, you may want to monitor that. But it was really funny. We love that. Okay, British humor, Monty Python, Angel Summoner,
very silly.
So freedom. So far, our spiritual realities of play are belonging and community, grace, self-worth, belovedness, agency, education, freedom, and then the last one is presence, right? Yeah. Is this, and again, Jason Santos last episode talked a lot about this, but it's this sense of, because the act of play is not in service to anything else, right? If it's truly play, because it's not instrumental, because it's not focused on achieving some future goal outside of the game itself, or undoing some past regret, it opens you up to just be truly present to that moment, right? And to the people around the table. For a brief moment, you're not worried about the future. You're not regretting the past. You can just be present in that moment and to other people.
Yes.
Does that resonate?
Absolutely. Kevin? And so it can be a meditative practice. You are not, hopefully it's getting away from your cares and worries, and you get to focus on something that is really, back to Monty Python, kind of silly. You're worried about victory points and sheep, or controlling an area of a board or something like there's a part of us that knows that that's really dumb. Yeah. And that's why it's so awesome, because we get to focus on it and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that really relieves a lot of stress. It relieves a lot of time travel in terms of the past and the future. You're focused right now on this thing that is going to go in a box on a shelf.
Yeah.
And that just takes a lot of burdens away.
It really does. Yeah. This is an exercise we do in our theology of play workshops often, that Play Saves the World does, is if you ever want us to do it for you, let us know, dear listeners. We'd love to. But is that, we'll play like a game with the participants, like especially like Just One is a game that's popular. And it's an exercise we do afterwards. It's like, okay, as we were playing that game, how many of us were worried about what's going to happen to the world in 10 years? Or how many of us were regretting that mistake we made 2 weeks ago? And no one is, right? Because just in that moment, you're just thinking about the game. You're being present.
Yeah.
Which,
Present.
yeah.
Present is something that's sublimely ridiculous in some ways.
Yeah.
Which makes it, you can't worry about the game afterwards because it goes in a box.
Yeah.
So it's something about that. They get you to pay attention, and you have to pay attention because you have to want to win. That's one of the conditions of playing a game is the desire to win and the attempt to. Otherwise, the game falls apart. So I'm having to watch what you do with your little meeple.
Yeah.
So it's like watching fish or something. You're like, oh, he's going to do that.
Look at that. Look at that fish.
Look at that guy go.
Yeah. You have fish, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I think it's time for them. I think it's time.
It's time for
to
them
get
to
rid of them.
No, really, I didn't mean to.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna cut, but I'm just saying. I think when
they've run their course,
when this school of fish is gone, I think it's time to find a new home for this aquarium.
How do your cats and your fish get along? Do they interact in any way?
Well, again, either the cat recognizes and accepts the reality of the aquarium and therefore is uninterested, or the cat doesn't understand that right, or is too dumb to know. Right, so not interested.
That fine line.
Fine line between stupidity or wisdom.
The wisdom of non-wisdom. That's right. That's
exactly.
right. Yeah,
exactly.
The action of non-action.
So occasionally I picked her up and she'll kind of look for a little bit, but she's not that interested.
So, to recap, 6 spiritual realities of play. We've got belonging and community. We've got
grace, self-worth, belovedness.
Yeah. We've got agency. We have
education.
We've got freedom, and we have presence.
That's pretty good, Daniel.
That's pretty good. That's so there's the last 3.5 years of conversation kind of distilled down.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, yeah. We should do this every 3.5 years, and eventually we'll have like the 28 spiritual realities of board games.
42-month mark. Has it been achieved?
When we're being kept alive by computers and
that's it,
and just our brains in jars or whatever. Yeah.
Black Mirror season 8.
I don't want to live in a jar.
Yeah, you do.
Maybe I do.
Yeah, you do.
I don't know. So that's what we got. Thank you. So anything else, Kevin, that you can think about to add to the conversation?
No, just let us know what your thoughts are, if we've left something out or a way you'd frame it differently, how you might think about it. Contact us, info@placesavestheworld.org.
Yeah, we would, or .com. No, .org. Oh my goodness, we do that every episode. I'm so sorry. .org.
Info@placesavestheworld.org or Instagram.
Yep. Yeah,
Saves the World.
Check us out.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate your taking time to watch on YouTube or listen on your podcast player. It really means more to us than we can say. We hope that wherever you are, whatever's going on in your world, that you can find a little bit of play and playfulness and belonging and grace and goodness in your day to day. And we're glad you're in the world.
That's right. All right. Talk to you soon, friends. Goodbye.